Hello, hello. Welcome to the Donnie Jones Show. I hope you guys are having a great week. So excited to have you join us this week. Man, have I got a great show for you guys today. I know some of you, if you follow me on social media, you know I'm real passionate about small business and business people and women basically taking the bull by the horns and making their life the way they want it to be. And a lot of times we need business strategies and we need ideas and we need a little bit of coaching to help make that happen. Well, a little while ago, I met an amazing lady that I've been wanting to have on the show for like the longest time, because in my opinion, she's someone that not only has the head to serve, she has the heart to serve. And she's making a difference in her own way, in her community. And her community is actually spilled over into my community because I'm out there looking at what she's doing and learning from her. The lady that we have on the show today is a coach. She's a speaker. She's a business strategist. And she's also an author. And she has a new book out, which I love the title. Absolutely love the title. It's called You're Not for Everyone. You can be for everyone. And I'm talking about the amazing business strategist, Kristin Andree. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Doni, for having me. I'm excited to be here. I always love talking with you, so this will be fun.
Well, I love talking with you too. Now, I could have, to be honest with y'all, I could have just recorded our conversation last week at a restaurant.
I was thinking that too. I was like, we should just hit
But
record.
I thought we might be a little bit more formal and actually have her own the show as opposed to just following her around with a camera. You know, I don't know. But Kristin, how are you doing?
I am doing well, hanging in there like all the rest of us. This is just,
yes.
I always say I'm doing well because I think what you put out there is kind of what you attract.
Absolutely, definitely what you put out there.
Time.
What's that?
It's a crazy time. Like a lot of us have had to make some major changes, and
that's right.
I'm here, and we're still all moving forward, and we're still all around, which is a good thing.
That is a good thing. And the thing you just said was we're all still moving forward. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanted you on the show, aside from you being an awesome person. In my day-to-day, with me running my tree service, for those of you that don't know, I own a tree care company in Atlanta, and I get to meet all different types of people every day. And some people are really thriving in this situation with the quarantine, and other people are struggling. And I'm running into a lot of people that are just, they're not making the shift in their businesses or in their careers in order to keep their life going. What have you seen, and what advice would you give to somebody that's in that season where, wow, everything is different, everything is shut down, and they just really don't know what to do?
Right, and it's true, and it's okay to be there. I think first you've got to recognize that it is okay to feel the feels. I mean, if you are stressed or struggling, and I certainly have been there, I was there again yesterday, you've got to have an important team around you or tribe around you that you can go to and just say, here's what I'm feeling. And I take to social media to do that sometimes, but the main thing is we're all in this. So my motto is control the controllables. Mm-hmm. If there's nothing in this situation that you can control, stressing over it or freaking out over it is wasted energy.
Right.
It truly is. And most of us still I'm very type A. So those of us like me, we stress out easy. So I know I'm going to stress, but I set a time limit. Like, some stuff happened yesterday. And I was like, all right, I got till the end of the day, but tomorrow's a new day and I've just got to get after it. So control the controllables. But aside from that, you've got to be willing to shift. And, the word pivot so overused, but it's true. Right. Like you've got to be able to move around a little bit, be a little more agile.
Right. Would you be willing to give, I love to talk about the personal stuff, the business stuff, but I also like to get into specifics. Yeah. For people that are coming from a situation where they have this corporate job and they have some stability, they don't have control of the fact that they now can't go back to their job, but they also are in the space where I want to start a new business or I want to follow that dream that I've always had, but I just don't know where to begin. Where would you tell them to begin?
I feel like, well, first and foremost, my background's in finance. And so I always want people to be okay financially. That's a big thing for me. So if you're looking at starting a business, and this could be, honestly, some of the best companies and the biggest companies that we think of were started in the middle of crazy world event. So this is a great time. But what I would say is financially, maybe you started as a side hustle, or maybe or if you're in a position where you have enough cash set aside to be able to have some cushion to take
Yes.
3 to 6 months to build it. That's great, but start small. You know, there's
Yes.
nothing that says, I love going all in, but I'm also a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, and he always says, do a side hustle until
Yes,
it
he
becomes
does.
your main thing. And that's
I,
okay. There's no wrong way to build a business if you're following something that you're passionate about.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And I also believe that, you know, if you're following something that you're truly passionate about and you are building a business, even when you think you've made a mistake, it's really not a mistake because it's just teaching you how not to do something. So I think you're
It's a
so right.
learning opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
learning opportunity. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm gonna steal that from you. Is that okay?
You take it. Take it. I probably stole it from somebody else, but it's true
Exactly.
because we so many times we think of failures, and honestly, the people that I privately coach in my business, the executives and the entrepreneurs who I look at and just like, man, you're crushing it.
Yeah.
They failed way more than anybody even tried.
Yeah.
So what I appreciate about them is it doesn't matter if you mess up, it matters if you get back up.
Yes. Yes. Now, how has your business been affected? If you don't mind sharing that. And I think
Sure.
that's one of the keys, especially after running into you again and us getting a chance to talk. It's like, obviously, as a business person, I see I see your podcast, I see your videos out there. You know, you're absolutely gorgeous. You know, you always look like you got your head on straight. But of course, we all know that there's some internal things that are happening in our businesses, in our life,
Yeah.
where we've had to pivot. Can you give some examples where your business now looks different, or you've had to make some changes in order to stay on top of things in this new era we're in?
For sure. But I'll touch on something before I dive in that. All of us, we have a choice as what we put out there.
Yeah.
And I do tend to stay positive on social media. It does
You
not
do.
mean that I don't have cruddy days. I do, if I know I'm going on air, I'm throwing on makeup the rest of the days, you'll see me in a hat and looking like a hot mess. It's okay. I mean, it's just show up as you are and be
That's
comfortable
right.
with that, because we're all going through some crazy stuff right now. And
Yes.
it's important to show grace and to understand that even though somebody looks like, if I choose to go on air and be happy and talk about the good stuff and the strategies that work, that does not mean that there isn't bad stuff happening. So I think it's important for everybody to recognize that we got to show people grace, because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's not that they're not being honest about it. It's just some people, I'd rather uplift people than them have to carry my baggage. But
Absolutely.
in terms of how I've had to pivot, you mentioned speaker. All of my speaking engagements canceled. I had 4 in January, which was fantastic. Speaking is one of my most favorite things to do. I love doing keynotes. I love speaking to organizations, but
and you're good at it.
Oh, it's fun though. Like, it's really fun to kind of get out and talk to people, and I feed off the audience. So
Yes.
I have had the opportunity with some of my clients to do virtual workshops.
Yes.
I love them. We still get content out there, which is great, but it's not the same. Like, you're not
Right.
feeding off that energy. So my business, and that's honestly, a big portion of my revenue stream. So that went away, completely went away. And originally I thought, it's going to be 3 months, but right now with the size conferences I speak at, for sure through the end of 2020, and most big conferences are talking about middle of 2021. So I had to shift and look at, okay, not only what do I need to do from a revenue standpoint as a business owner, but also what do my clients need? How can I get them the information? So I shifted online. Like, we launched some courses, we have virtual trainings, we have webinars, we have videos that I put out for free just to help people. Yeah. But this all happened, this was a month. We had to really just completely pivot, but you don't have time to waste, is what I would urge most business owners. The more you sit there and think about, how can I do this perfectly, the more you're going to mess up. You just got to say, all right, here's what needs to be done, and dive into it.
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Sometimes you just got to go, okay, this is not exactly what I wanted. And you just have to make the decision. It's time to turn. It's time to pivot. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with hesitating, but I think sometimes when people hesitate, from hesitating to just freezing, so I like what you talked about. Once again, if you guys are just joining us, we're talking to Kristin Andree. She's a consultant, a coach, a speaker, and she also has a new book that we're going to dive into in a little bit. But Kristin, how can people get in contact with you to get some of this great information?
Yeah, my website is Andree Group, and there's 2 E's in Andree because we like to confuse people and make it hard to spell. But, so andreegroup.com, but also I'm on social media. I love engaging with people on social media. I comment back. I just really like to have a dialogue. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that is at Andree Group. So we'd love to hear from people.
Well, you're very engaging, so I can understand why you want to engage with people. Awesome.
I
Well,
just need to
the
talk
other
to people. I'm in the house.
I just can't wait till I can just go hug people. That's my big thing. I'm a hugger.
I know one of my friends said that. She's like, as soon as this is over, I'm going to give you a tackle hug. I'm like, I'm not accepting hugs anymore. So
Well, I did touch a little bit on the fact that you do have a new book out, and I do want to dive into that. Tell us how because I love the title. I'm a title person, meaning if the title grabs me, I'm more likely to grab the book. So, love your title. Tell us about how you came up with that title, and tell us about the book.
Yeah, so the title is called You're Not for Everyone. And then I added the subtitle, But You Can Be For Everyone, because what made me really write it, and this one is personal and professional. So it touches on both. We're going to do a deep dive within the next probably 2 months that dives further into business and talk about how you're not for everyone in business and why it's important to identify your market. But with this one, it's really, I started realizing that so many people are living their life for someone else.
Yes.
They're saying what they think they should say. They're showing up the way they think they should. They act and dress and talk and everything just based on what they're hearing from others, and it's not them. Yeah. And then, I would see that in my business. I would see it with my friends and in my personal life. And my theory is if you're not going to do anything to change it, you forfeit the right to complain. Oh. So that's why I did the book.
Yeah. I love that.
Just guides them through how to
one more time. Could you repeat that one more time about what you said about change? If you're not willing.
Yeah, if there's something you don't like and you're not proactively doing something to change it, you forfeit the right to complain.
Yes, I love that.
That was the premise of it.
I love that.
That was the premise of it. It's just good. And I do give people, as a strategist, the book walks you through how to do that. It does an assessment at the beginning of, what are you doing that's not you? Are you doing enough that is you? And then how can you build the life you want while still being gracious and kind to everybody else?
And that's the important thing, is to be gracious and kind. And I have found that sometimes when people go through the challenges like what we're dealing with right now, the first thing that happens is the people around them are impacted negatively because they're internalizing everything and lashing out at their surroundings, whether it's their husband, their wife, their kids. And I even know that for my own self, when this thing first hit and I wasn't real sure about, when we found out we could be considered an essential business, I was like, yay. But for that first week, I was like, yeah. And there was a lot of stress. And I feel like the old me, before getting some coaching with people like yourself and other people that I've reached, that I've consumed their content, whether it's Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or any of those people, the old me would have been lashing out. But the new me was like, okay, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. But it's also a process that I have to go through. And can you explain how, I guess, when you get to a point where you're dealing with all of this negative internal dialogue, how do you have any specific strategies that you can do to turn that internal negative dialogue into something positive?
Well, there are a couple of things. I think first and foremost, you've got to understand where it's coming from. Yeah. And what is really the core issue? Yeah. Is it that, is it finances? Is it time? Is it relational? Whatever it is, you've got to understand the core issue. And then you've got to get help. Most of us can't do this. I have been to therapy. I was like you, I would lash out. My clients would never see it. No one would say, I'd lash out at the ones closest to me. I'd lash out at my kids. I'm yelling at the kids for, very disproportionate to whatever they were getting in trouble, but disproportionate. So you've got to be comfortable getting help. So when I recognized that, I was like, all right, where is this really coming from? And it was because I was frustrated and I didn't know how to fix it. Yes. Because I'm a mom, I'm a fixer. So you have to get professional help, whether that's coaching or therapy or whatever. And that's frowned upon by a lot of people, but it shouldn't be, because that's how we.
Oh my God, it shouldn't be. We're going to talk a little bit about being a mom during this time. I'm going to take a quick break because, we got to let people know who sponsors us and how we're getting here. But we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back with Kristin Andree. And then we're going to talk about business stuff, mommy stuff, and all kinds of things that might pop into my head or her head. So we'll be right back. And yeah. Welcome back to the Doni Jones Show. I am Doni, the Tree Lady, your host of the Doni Jones Show. And today we're speaking with the effervescent, wonderful coach, speaker, and author, Kristin Andree. And before we went to break, we were talking about basically business strategies and things that you can do to kind of, manage those emotions when you're dealing with challenging times right now. Now, Kristin, once again, how can people get in contact with you? And also, I want you guys to go out and purchase that book. She is an amazing writer, and her insight is impactful into whatever it is you're dealing with right now, or will be impactful once you get the book.
Thank you. No, the best way to get in touch with me is either on my website or social media, which are both at Andree Group, Andree Group. So definitely reach out, connect with me. Love to hear. And then the book, You're Not For Everyone. We actually have a page on Facebook too. So if you go to Facebook and you just type in You're Not For Everyone, you'll get our little page. You'll see the book. All the information on how to order is on there. It'll be up on Amazon on August 1st. So we're excited. Like, it's fun. Like, I'm a big engagement person. Like, I love to talk to people while we built the page. And it's funny, like, we'll have, once the book, the release date has come and all the pre-orders are out now, so it's in everybody's hands. I'm starting to get some feedback. So we're going to post some fun quotes and have some contests and stuff.
Yes. Well, I know I need to, start reading through my copy, and I've already, done my homework. So I would love to give you a quote if you'd like one for me. So
absolutely.
Because that's awesome. Now, being a mom and a business, what have been some of the challenges that you've gone through there? Because a lot of my listeners are moms. They're entrepreneurs, businesswomen, and moms. And being a mom is a huge role for me. I don't neglect that, but I love hearing from other women that are doing it and doing it well.
Yeah. I think the main advice I have is it's not easy, and it is okay to fall down. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to I'm not saying yell at your kids all the time, but we all make mistakes. And I feel like for so long we had this, media image of the perfect mom and balancing everything. And I know when I wrote my first book years ago, that was the big trend. Everything is balance, and you can't balance it. You just can't. Right. So I think the main thing for moms to realize is it's not a balance, it's a blend. And some days it is all kid for me. I'm like, I've taken the day off from work where I'm all engaged. And some days I'm like, if you guys make another sound while I'm on this call, I'm going to your iPad. So, it's a blend, and it's okay to realize that we're not going to be perfect. So it's progress over perfection when it comes to parenting.
Oh my God. You've got so many little sound bites. It's progress over perfection. It's not a balance, it's a blend. I hope you guys are taking notes and writing this stuff down, because these are life-changing statements. They really are. And I think it also takes the off of you trying to be the perfect mom, Because, first of all, there is no such thing as the perfect mom,
For sure.
You're the best
that's how all of us learn.
for your kids in the mindset that you're in right now,
Yep.
And I think that we put a lot of pressure on moms that we don't necessarily put on dads. I think I was telling you about this, that, my husband can go out and do something really small, like get, I don't know, some black beans and heat them up, for the kids. And the kids are like, oh my God, it's so good. And then I'll go through and make a whole big meal. And they're like, oh, that's nice. Yeah. It's nice. So, that can be disheartening sometimes. I don't know whether I had to do with anything, but it just was on my mind, so I shared it. Yeah. All right. What are some other tips and tools that you think? What did you say?
I said it's true, because we have these unrealistic expectations. I think that it's our own fault. We put them on ourselves. That's why I'm saying it's okay to talk about, here's where I'm struggling here. I mean, just this morning I got a text from a girlfriend of mine, and she's like, I saw your post. I know things are crazy right now. How can I help? And that's what really it should be like. That's what motherhood should be like, is realizing, some days I'm really strong, and some days I need somebody to kind of dust me off and shove me back out the door. So.
Yes. And I think that also comes back to community. And you do have a very nice community of people around you. For people that haven't quite built that type of community yet, what are some things that they can do to start building that type of community? Because I think that's so important.
And I am hugely intentional in that, like hugely. I will, my theory, and this is business and personal, if someone is not bringing me energy or moving me closer to my goals, I don't have time for it. I'm super all of us are super busy. Like we have kids, we have businesses, we have, I'm single, but a lot of people have spouses. We don't have time for things. So if somebody's an energy suck or energy vampire, don't spend time with them. It's all a choice. And that's what people forget is we have a choice. So I purposefully cultivate, and I'm only saying yes to breakfast meetings and to wine nights with girlfriends with the people that truly bring me energy.
That's right.
The ones that I there's no sense in going like, oh, I'm dreading this meeting. And I say that with clients too. Even you and I've had this conversation.
Yes.
Even with your clients, if you're looking at your calendar and go, oh, I can't believe we got to work with them this week, they shouldn't be a client. You need to get rid of them.
That's right.
There's enough business out there for us where we don't need that energy drain. So I think as far as finding your people, which is one of the chapters in the book, is find your people, is figure out really like your type of person, because they're out there. I don't care how off the wall or crazy you think you may be, your people, they're your people. They're out there.
That's right. I call them your tribe. There is somebody out there that is your tribe. But I think in times like now, people might be afraid to fire a client. I literally had to do this last week. I literally told someone, we finished the job and everything, but they were such a pain to deal with. I said, the next time you need service, I think it would be in your best interest and in our best interest to find another company. I just don't think that we're the right fit. And I'm telling you, this was somebody that has spent quite a bit of money with us over in the past, but he's very condescending to our workers. He's very condescending to our office staff. It's a tone that people use that he uses is very toxic and aggressive. And we have a lot of women, I wouldn't say a lot, it's just me and a couple of other women, but we are women in a male dominated industry. And so sometimes when you're a woman in a male dominated industry, men will talk down to you. And so he said something very disrespectful to my assistant, who is, Dolly is like, she's the salt of the earth. Like, she's like literally one of the sweetest people. Like, you can't really have an argument with her because she's so.
You don't mess with Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly. And she's amazing. And he was very mean to her. And I said, this isn't worth it. This really isn't worth it. So in your business, especially being a coach and a speaker, can you talk about a couple of examples where you, or maybe one example where you said, this isn't worth the money, or it's not worth it?
I feel like everyone, myself included, everyone, the successful business owners I know have turned down things that they, would have liked or would have been nice, excuse me, for those reasons, because you've got to follow the energy. We have an internal GPS, a gut system that just tells us like, this is not my person. If you don't listen to this, you struggle personally and professionally. And I've joked on my own show before, all of the bonehead decisions I've made in my life, a lot of them relationship focused, but all the bonehead decisions I've made in my life have been when I ignored my gut.
Yes.
And so in business, this is huge. And I feel like we listen to our gut a little bit more personally, but in business, if you're getting the sense like, if you get a gut that this isn't my person, you shouldn't do business. But for me, disrespect or, somebody being disrespectful or inappropriate.
Yes.
Just that is a very hard line for me. Those two, being disrespectful, being inappropriate, are non-negotiables for me.
No, non-negotiables.
I have no problem turning away business of any size, because I think if you do that, you're going to build business the right way and the right people will come to you.
That's right. That's right. Well, once again, guys, we're talking to Kristin Andree. She's a coach, a speaker, and an author. But there's another thing that she does. She is a podcaster, and we haven't got a chance to touch on that yet. But I'd love for people to hear about your show, No Limits. And once again, where do you come up with these names? I'm telling you, you're so awesome.
I don't know. I just guess I have names pop in my head. That one really came because people ask me what I do coaching. I'm like, I'm just trying to get people to push past limits, because it used to be when we first came out with the name or first looked at it, we were calling it You Are Your Only Limit, but that was kind of long. So we shoved it down to No Limits. When I look at people, it's usually them getting in their own way.
That's right.
All of us do that. I'm guilty of it too. Like, I have to have a coach that tells me, all right, Kristin, you're doing it again. We all need people to help us push past the limits.
That's right. That's right. So No Limits. And where can they find No Limits? And once again, it's called No Limits with Kristin Andree, right?
Yes, because apparently there's more. I guess that was a common phrase, but it is. We do have both the audio. We have the audio and the live stream. And Donnie's been a guest, so you guys will have to come and check out Donnie. But we have the audio and video on my website. It's available also on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the normal podcast places.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, do you want to tell people what you normally focus on your show, or do you want them to just surprise themselves and go find out? I just wanted to say a little bit about it.
I know. Sometimes I used to bring on guests and interview guests and different business owners and people who had phenomenal stories about, being in a male-dominated industry or pushing through some challenges. Since COVID started in the pandemic, we've kind of been being more topical. So whatever I feel like I'm hearing from my audience, that's what we're talking about. So we're actually in the process of retooling it right now to figure out, all right, what do people need now that we're this far in? What do people need going forward? Because my goal with it is not to talk. It's really just to bring in people that can say, all right, here's what people are needing right now.
Well, I think people are needing your talk. I think they're needing your material. And I really do want you guys to look her up and follow her. Once again, it's Kristin, Kristin, Andree. And of course, there'll be a link where you guys can get in contact with her. Before we wrap up, Kristin, is there any one thing that you see right now that you would like to leave people with that can help them start moving their lives in the right direction, or kind of overcome whatever they're dealing with right now? Because that's where my heart is at, is helping people. Yeah,
and mine too. I mean, and I think that's why you and I connect so well. There's so much opportunity right now, and I get and I understand, and I am right there with you. And I heard a quote. I did not make this one up, but it was, "We're all in the same storm, but we're definitely in different boats." And so I get that none of us are, I know, I don't know where I heard that. I heard it from a friend. I'm like, it's so true. But like, there's so many people that want to help, and this is a tremendous time. So my thing I'd want to leave everybody with is, don't stay where you are. Don't stay stuck. I get that it stinks right now. It is not fun on a lot of days, but it's also a pivotal point in your life and in your business where it's up to you if you're going to grow through this or if you're just going to be pissed off about it.
That's right.
So for the people that want to grow, there are tons of resources out there. Donnie has them. I have them. There's gazillion people out there that can help. Find the help. Find the help and make a conscious choice to move forward.
That's right. And speaking of help, who's some people, just real quick, who's a few people that have helped you out to help, whether it's coaching or a motivational speaker or something you've done or listened to? What's something or someone that's helped you out?
There have been so many. I'm a personal development junkie, so I feel like through my life, all of them. I of course love Tony Robbins. My ex-husband worked with him, was his music producer for 14 years, so I got to go to a ton of his shows. He's phenomenal. Love Tony, but I've heard him a ton, and always great stuff. I'm a huge Brendan Burchard fan, so if you guys have Brendan,
so good.
I love Brendan. And honestly, I got to give a shout out to my girl, Rachel Hollis. I feel like I kind of joke. I think I'm the older version of her. I'm like her much older, could almost be your mom's sister.
I love Rachel.
She's awesome because what I love about her is she's so real. And
she is so real.
And one of the things I stress with my business clients is most of my business coaching clients, they overcomplicate things.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm trying to, you're making this way too hard. We need to simplify. And I feel like this is the perfect time in the world right now to simplify. And Rachel does a great job of that. So those are a
brilliant job right there. And I'm glad you brought her up. And Rachel, love it if you saw this, but I want you to know we love you. We love the content that you put out. We know that you are a child of God. We know that, that you're going through some challenges right now, but you're also powerfully going through it. And I love that you're being transparent about that. I just wanted to put that out there, Kristin. And the reason is because a lot of times in the self-help industry, as soon as somebody goes through a challenge, which is what makes us all stronger, they're like, well, I don't know about this, that, and the other. So I just want to say that Rachel Hollis has been a shining star because she's always been so candid about her life, and her candidness, I really believe, is part of what her power is. And I feel like the same with you. Your candidness is one of the reasons why you're so powerful.
I agree with you with Rachel. She's awesome, and she is going through a lot right now. And I follow her on social, and I follow Dave as well.
Yeah,
and they both
awesome.
And here's one thing I will say: a lot of people who are putting their lives online, you don't know behind the scenes. And when they first announced their split, I was floored. And I will say this as a Christian woman, floored by the Christians that were coming and saying,
"Oh my gosh,
like, you guys, like, be nice." Like I agree. She's been beautiful in all this.
Yeah, they're beautiful people, beautiful spirits. What's that?
I said, I want to give her a big old virtual hug and say,
you know what? Let's do it right now. Rachel, this is for you. It's a big old virtual hug. Mwah! Exactly. Yeah. Well, Kristin, thank you.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, I've been there. It's not easy. And I hugely respect her. So she's probably, those three are my favorite, but she's a rock star for sure.
She truly is a rock star. And once again, we're so thankful for her content and for what she does. But I'm also thankful for what you do. I'm thankful for your content. I'm thankful for your coaching, your speaking, the fact that you've got this amazing book coming out. And, you guys, you don't know what you know until you know it. And I really want you guys to check out this woman's content. Check out her podcast, No Limits, because there really are no limits to what you can do, but you have to have the tools. And she'll help you get those tools. So once again, Kristin Andree, thank you for being on the Doni Jones Show. And I would love to have you back again in the future.
Anytime. I'm here. You know that, girl.
All righty. You have a good one. And you guys, thanks for checking out the show. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And once again, you can find me on all social platforms too. That's Doni Jones, Doni Jones. Look out for me for upcoming awesome events that will probably be virtual, but we'll be there. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.